TJ, about whether or not he wants to join them 1 minute in, 1 minute out, 1 foot over here, 1 foot out. Should the Steelers be like, man, you know what, man? Go pound sand. Should the Steelers tell him kick rocks?
At this point, they've given him all the power. They at his mercy. They've given him all the power by waiting this long. At some point, they're going to have to move on. But to me, what it's saying is the guys that we have, we're not comfortable with these guys going into the season, because if they were, they wouldn't move on. But this is going to be the problem. You got guys in that locker room that don't like what's going on, and they can't say anything publicly, or they won't say anything publicly. When you get to that team, as soon as you have any type of adversity, if Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback, it's going to be a problem. Yeah, buddy ain't want to come to OTAs, he ain't want to come to minicamp, and he going to come in and look what he doing. It's going to be a problem, and they know it's going to be a problem. Cam Hayward already said something, and then he tried to walk it back. And so to me, this shows me Mason Rudolph and whoever else is on that depth chart, the Steelers are not happy. They not happy, because if they were happy, when have we ever seen this happen? A quarterback, we in June, talking about he going to be the starter of a team, but he not on the team. We've never seen this.
Yeah, I don't know, Rick, what they should do, to be honest with you.
Do they have a better option?
Yeah, they have a better option.
What is it?
Go pry somebody else's backup away.
Now, you got to give me a specific.
I go get Carson Wentz. I go get Kirk Cousins.
Is that a better option than Aaron Rodgers?
Because I'm waiting. At this point in time, the waiting period is over. OTAs are now in their second week, okay?
Yeah.
And so...
Start tomorrow.
It's going to be over with. At some point, you get tired of being asked a question about the same situation over and over and over again. At some point, I'm going to get tired of Rick asking me when I walk out to my car, hey, can I just speak with you for a minute? I want to talk to you. Is it okay if I walk to the car with you?
I get that.
I get so sick and tired of that.
I get that. But in the big picture, is it better to tolerate being asked the question about Aaron Rodgers and having Aaron Rodgers at some point as your quarterback? Or just cut it loose, just say, you know what, we're going with Mason Rudolph?
I think at some point they're going to have to.
Okay, maybe, but if Aaron shows up at some point and he's the better quarterback, look, to TJ's point, they've put themselves in this position. I would have never gone down the Aaron Rodgers road because you could almost predict the possibility of this happening, right?
I couldn't predict this.
Not this long.
Not this.
Not in June.
Not this.
Everybody said after the draft, he'll sign with a team.
Yeah, I had him cool last week.
It's a roll of the dice with Aaron Rodgers. We know he loves the attention.
I know, but he's never done this.
Okay, but
he's never left him at the altar.
But are you totally shocked? Are you completely shocked? Do you feel like this is out of character for Aaron Rodgers to be doing this? I don't.
But I don't think that this has anything to do with character. It has something to do with miscommunication as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers go.
How so?
Because if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I need a definitive answer of when your ass is going to be here. What are we doing?
Right.
It's it. I don't need the well, I'm not sure. Give me a couple more weeks.
Okay.
At that point, I got to cut bait.
But the Steelers didn't. They were willing to play that game. They were willing to play
fault,
that game in order to get Aaron Rodgers.
And that's their fault.
Okay, well,
that's
it is.
Literally their
but
fault.
At this point, once you've made that mistake, are you going to compound it by saying, not like to me, that's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Oh, we went halfway there. We wanted Aaron. We were willing to put up with all this. Now we're not willing to put up with it, and we're going to go with Mason Rudolph.
You got to put your foot down eventually.
If that was a possibility, you should have never gone down that road.
You have 52 other players that are going to be on the team. 52 other players that are going to be on the roster. At some point, you got to worry about the 52 instead of the 1.
Agreed.
At some point, that has to come into play.
Yeah, this ain't 7 years in Aaron Rodgers, 9 years in Aaron Rodgers.
So where's that line drawn? Right now?
It should have been drawn from day one. Like I said, we should have had that line of communication open from day one when we first start talking.
But you're past that.
Okay, so
now you got to make a decision from your current situation.
This is not going to end well for nobody. Because think about this. Even if he come, I don't think the Steelers
They're going to be looking at him funny.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be all that good. Chemistry issues. The writing's on the wall for Pittsburgh this year. I don't think they make the playoffs.
Because if he missed TJ these OTAs this week, then the mini camp is another weekend, right? It's just another 3 days in the mini camp.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Then that's it. And then they off for the summer, right? for the most part. They can probably go throw with each other, but then his next real practice sessions would be in training camp.
Aside from somebody going down with an injury, when have we seen a starting quarterback not attend OTAs and minicamp? Aside from somebody, when have we seen it?
No, they're always there.
They're always there, building chemistry, just building relationships with your teammates. They get to know you in the locker room. And the fact that the Steelers, like
doing it
with
this
the
way.
history and the tradition
Yeah.
of their organization, they going through is mind-boggling.
I get that, and I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is that once you've put yourself in this position,
You might as well run with it.
It's too
All the
late.
way. Just go with it.
Yeah, I
Until
mean,
you crash and burn.
yes.
But
Until-
then here's what's going to happen in this situation, though. So I mentioned Kirk Cousins, and I mentioned Carson Wentz. Not that Kansas City would be willing to give any that up at all. But if you miss on them because you waiting on him, you really going to be stuck with Mason
I'm going to
Rudolph.
get Kirk Cousins. I'm going to get Kirk Cousins. I'm going to get Kirk Cousins. He going to be present. He going to build a relationship with his teammates. And he's a year now removed from his injury. He going to put the ball where it need to be, and it's going to be accurate. The Steelers, I don't know what's going. Maybe they've told Aaron Rodgers we good. Maybe.
No, if
we
they
don't.
told Aaron
Maybe.
Rodgers we good, we would have that report by now. If they told Aaron Rodgers never mind, we would have.
There's no way they think Mason Rudolph is this bad. Because Mason Rudolph actually has a winning record when he's a starting quarterback for the Steelers. He has a winning record. There's no way they're going to just let Aaron Rodgers say, how'd I get back to y'all?
Yeah, but I don't think Mason Rudolph is.
He's also thrown one or more
in
interceptions
OTAs for
in all 6 of
quarterbacks,
his last game.
OTAs for quarterbacks is cake, it's cup, it's easy.
I know.
You ain't even doing nothing.
No,
You're
you're
just throwing the ball.
That's really what
You ain't doing no conditioning, no running. You barely lifting weights. It's easy.
But is it on Aaron? It's not on Aaron.
Who is on?
It's on the Steelers. He could be over there talking about, I might want to retire. They probably trying to convince him not to retire. He already even had one foot out the door for the last few years. Already had one. He's been had one foot out the door for at least 3 or 4 years now. So now he's like, man, I'm ready to lay it down. I've made all the money. Why should I go spend my last year in cold Pittsburgh, where we probably won't win a Super Bowl? But
So then just say I don't want to play football. Then just say that.
maybe he
This is a
wait till
bad
the
look
last
for-
minute to weigh his options.
It's a bad look for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
They
that's
better-
what
What
it
we
is.
know about them.
It's a bad look for the
They
Pittsburgh
better
Steelers.
hope they
Don't
have a
leave it up
solid
to Aaron
season.
Rodgers.
Appreciate him taking accountability. Taking accountability. When you're the best player, we didn't make the playoffs, it's on me. And so that's what he did. We didn't make the playoffs, it falls on me. It don't matter what I did, I could have done more. And no matter how well I played, I could have played better. And so I appreciate the fact that he's going to take accountability. But what more could he have done? It's the best season of his career. He played in all 17 games. But that's leadership.
No, it's good. It's good leadership, and I don't know what he's talking about because he played phenomenal. But maybe there's things that we don't see that he's seen that he could have done better that would have qualified for a win versus a loss. Right?
100% you
Maybe he
this
looks
playing this game, this playing that game, those
one
type
play,
of things.
one play here,
Yeah.
one play there, and so he's carrying that burden on his shoulder and saying, "Damn, if I'd have just hit the seam instead of throwing the hitch,
Yep.
or if I'd have checked it down to the back instead of trying to throw the chase and get the money, we would be in a much better situation." Maybe that's what it is. I don't think he could have done much more, Rick, at all.
I watched every minute of every Bengals game, and I can tell
Why?
you early on, because that's my team. I'm from the Natty.
Okay.
And I can tell you early on, I was thinking, you know what? There must be something with his wrist, because I just saw him make throws or miss guys that I wasn't used to him
Missing.
And it was few and far between, but there were a couple early on, and they obviously got out of the gate slow, that I thought, man, maybe there's something where he's not quite right. And then the rest of the season, there was no question, right? And I'm thinking he's looking at a couple of those. And we can look at the defense, and we can look at a lot of other issues that team had, and if they had done just a little bit more, then it wouldn't have mattered in terms of Burrow and how he started. But I understand his thinking, and I appreciate it. And on some level, I agree where he just wasn't everything that he could have been. It was, like I said, it was only a couple of occasions, but early on I got that feeling. And losing to the Patriots, going scoreless in the first half, like there was just there was a couple of slow starts or missed plays here and there. Their losses were so close that had he made one more play in certain instances, regardless of the defense, regardless of everything else, they would have won. So I understand where he's coming from. I'd never blame him, but I'm also, I can appreciate and understand what he's saying.
He should take the blame. He's the leader. He's the highest paid. See, I love this about Joe Burrow. I liked him, but I like the fact he took the pressure off because us as analysts, we say, well, the Bengals would have made it if the defense had gave him something. That's what we would have said. He could have easily threw them under the bus like we see some other quarterbacks do, throw their teams under the bus. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna take all the questions. I'm gonna take all the heat off of everybody else. So now your teammates is looking like, man, I rock with you like that. Yep. Ain't nobody said nothing about our defensive player having a down year or this safety not doing his job. You know what I'm saying? It was Joe Burrow manning up saying, if I had played better, we would have made the playoffs. And that's what you want for your leaders. And that's what you want in the locker room. When he come in the locker room, he's deflecting from the guys who probably should have played better. We all know defense should have played better. So I love this, and that goes a long way. It really does. It brings teams together. And that's why I think the Bengals, they make a run next year because of answers and taking accountability. Taking accountability as a leader goes a long way in a locker room that has guys want to run through the wall for you.
No, and the people that's in the locker room with him, teammates, they know that he's taking accountability. They understand, just like I was telling TJ, some of those throws that he may have missed that he could potentially be talking about, they see the same thing. If we'd have just did this, if we'd have just did that. It's not all on him. They didn't have a defense, but when you look at it, I'm glad he got out in front of it, though, because when you look at it, there's other quarterbacks in the league that got their teams to playoff contention in certain situations that didn't have
The year that he had.
Agreed. Or the nucleus of great defenses or great this. If you just look at the MVP and Josh Allen, Buffalo did not have a great defense last year. They didn't have great receivers, but for some way, will, or rhyme or reason, he figured out how to get his team
You know what
into
it is,
the playoffs.
though? When you have those type of you don't have a standout defensive player. You don't have a standout receiver, but the defense will make a standout play. A receiver will make a standout play. They will be great in moments
Yes.
when you need them to be. In that's what the Bengals didn't have. And blame him. Blame me. I'm the best player on the team. Blame me. And I can appreciate him doing that, even though he's not to blame, but you appreciate that.
Yeah, you got to appreciate it. But if it was me, I'd say it's TJ's fault.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.